Yes, sir, we are on live now.
Thank you very much. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. This is a beautiful quote by Malcolm X. Once again, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Knowing the length and breadth of Amity operations, we never know what to wish at what time. So, we welcome our esteemed guests, scholars, and visionaries that have gathered here today as we embark upon this journey of exploration and collaboration in the realm of higher education management. It is my proud privilege to call upon the dais Dean Silverman College of Business, Professor James Almeida, to give the welcome note. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Marut, and a very good morning to all of you. Welcome. And certainly for those of us who are joining online in India and elsewhere around the world, as Marut said, the reach of Amity is truly impressive. So good afternoon or a good evening, wherever you are. It's truly a pleasure for me to welcome each and every one of you this morning. I'm joined also by some of my colleagues, as well as you will hear shortly one of our members of our board of advisors, who has very kindly consented to speak and share some of his thoughts. He's a great believer of the Indian diaspora in terms of his visits to India, and certainly I think he would be a great speaker to share some of his thoughts about what we are gathered here today to talk about the potential for greater collaboration between India and certainly the US. I've had the pleasure and the privilege of knowing Dr. Gurinder Singh for now close to almost 20 years, right? So beyond being initially a colleague, he now is, I would consider him to be a very good friend. Right from when he used to head the Amity International Business School to the truly amazing and impressive record of internationalization that he has achieved today at Amity, serving as the group vice chancellor. I always kid around with Gurinder that Amity University, in many ways, could be the prototypical case study for internationalization. How do you go about internationalizing your operations, not just as an educational institution, but in more broad terms, perhaps lessons that could be learned by anybody who is interested in looking at perhaps corporate internationalization or even nonprofits, or for that matter, any particular sector. So in terms of what we are gathered here today, I'm truly, in some ways, awed by the potential for the scope of collaboration that exists between our two countries. And Fairleigh Dickinson University and Amity University both share a similar set of values in terms of the importance of higher education. So our founder, Peter Sammartino, back in the height of the Second World War, there was much strife going around in the world. And one of his core principles was, if people across the world talk to each other, interact with each other, there is less potential for strife. And imagine, this was truly an amazing man speaking at the height of conflict around the world. Today, perhaps we are not in too dissimilar circumstances, right? There is a lot of angst, there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of conflict around the world. And as an education institution, it is our responsibility to influence those conversations with a view to reduce that level of strife. Certainly, as an institution that has global in its DNA, Fairleigh Dickinson University has been truly proud to reach out and establish a collaborative hand with Amity University. I am never stopped being so impressed with the initial thought that your founder at Amity, Dr. Ashok Chavan, had when he set out on his mission of establishing an institution in India founded on Indian principles, but with a global reach. And to see where they have come today with campuses not only distributed all over India, but also in the Middle East, Asia Pac, Europe, Africa, and certainly North America. And we share those desires, those objectives, where education can be a foundation model for many individuals. The UN has its sustainable development goals. And we as an educational institution can be very crucial in terms of promoting those goals, in terms of getting individuals to upskill themselves, meeting learners where they are, delivering to them programs as they want, in a manner that allows them to meet the work-life balance that is so very crucial. So we are here very delighted to be partners with Amity University, as well as with any other institution that want to join hands to be able to advance the cause of higher education. In the US, the higher education model is undergoing some seismic transformation. And perhaps in a few years, the model that we will be observing, witnessing, experiencing may be significantly different from what it is today. You know, the growth and the emergence of artificial intelligence, for example, not just ChatGPT, but primarily in terms of leading technological transformation, not just in other industries, but even in our own industry as higher education. How do we go about generating knowledge? And then how do we use these newer technologies, these newer modalities, whether it is in terms of classroom pedagogy or beyond, to be able to deliver critical skill sets to develop the next generation of business leaders and beyond. So whether it is through student exchanges, faculty exchanges, collaborative joint degree programs, I think any and all of these are models to consider in advancing the cause of education. And I'm truly very delighted to welcome you all and to engage in this conversation. Today, we will have the benefit of listening through some stalwarts in the educational field, sharing their ideas, sharing their thoughts. And perhaps from these conversations, there could be other ideas that could be born in terms of taking advantage of what we have currently, as well as positioning ourselves for the future. So again, without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Gurinder Singh to say a few words here. Gurinder.
What a great day. And when friends speak, they always talk about emotions, they talk about good relationship, they talk about long associations. And I would say that the power of these international conferences, networking across the globe is that when you meet someone, you become a friend, and then partnership is created. Give a huge applause to Professor James Hilmedia, a good friend of Amity, who came for the first time in English, if I'm not wrong. This is an international conference, which is today one of the largest conferences in the world, where about 20,000 people participate every year. And then we became friends. We started contributing, we started doing joint research. And now look, from there to a historical partnership which has taken place. We are really obliged and thankful to your entire team, which has not only helped our students. I was just taking a feedback from the students that how they are, how they're feeling, and the unique program, Three Continent program, in which the students are, and that you are hosting them. Thank you so very much. Those who are new to us and who are sitting here, Amity is a brainchild of our founder, on whose behalf I'm welcoming all of you. After spending more than 3 decades, our founder, Dr. Chauhan, came back to Asia, came back to India to give back to the country, to give back to the world some world-class institutions. The mission was very clear that we want to contribute into the life of those who are looking for having meaningful career. And those were the days when there was no private university in India. People used to look at higher education with question marks. And from there, Dr. Chauhan, along with his sons, Dr. Atul Chauhan, who is now the Chancellor of MIT University and is a product of London School of Economics, and another Chancellor, Dr. Asim Chauhan, who himself has roots at US, at Wharton, and trustees, most of them who are educated in US from some of the top universities like Harvard, like Pepsin and Wharton. They created a group which was totally international. And the idea was that we should be able to do something which can help students not only to look at getting a degree, but also to see that whether they will be able to have a global career. And we are very happy today that when we see the profile of our students, 250,000 students, 13 universities in India, 16 foreign campuses across the globe, one of the largest research-focused university of the world, highest patents in India. And in India, if any private university which has been given a status of providing meaningful employment, it is MIT University. And it is because of the great support we have got from the researchers across the globe, especially from US. And that's the reason that few years back, we took an initiative that we will be doing annually an event here, which will be research focused. As you know, that MIT today has got 175 acres campus in Long Island. And Savita ji, who is the Vice President Operation, is looking at it very intelligently. But at the same time, we want that we should have meaningful relationship with some of the great universities in USA, in North America, where we can develop research linkages, where we can send students on short programs, on dual degree, on joint degrees, where we can have faculty to faculty exchanges, where we can send students to students exchanges can take place. And we are very happy that in US, we have now got some excellent partners. Please welcome Professor Raghu Sundaram, who has joined us online. Really honored by your presence as a senior vice chancellor and head of global strategy at NYU, has been a good friend, has been advising and guiding us on number of strategic issues, but we are thankful to you that you have given a time. I would also like to specially mention the chair of IEEE Long Island section, Professor Rhonda King. We became the first university in UK which organized the IEEE conference 5 years back. And it was our dream that we should be able to do meaningful research conferences in US. And Professor Rhonda Green, with your help, with your guidance, we assure you that next year, 2025 onwards, this is going to be an annual event which we will be doing with IEEE. I also want to specially mention Springer, Taylor, and Francis, who have been supporting this event, and also the Case Center UK, which is publishing a book which will come out from this conference. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Vice President Global Partnership from the Brown College, David Beck, and its president, and Professor Vallabh Subramurthy, who is the Dean of Wisconsin School of Business. Give a huge applause to him. A great educationist and a person who has always contributed not only in the area of research, but is a role model for many in the world. We welcome you. Our very good friend, Professor Malik Sundaram, again, like Professor James Alvaria, we met Professor Malik Sundaram more than 2 decades back and became very, very good friends. And today we run very, very strong programs with Illinois. We are doing engineering and we are doing some integrated programs focusing on research. Thank you so very much for coming. He told me that he just flight in the morning and is going back, but we treasure it. Dr. Rohit Verma, who is the Dean at University of South Carolina. Give a huge applause. We say that in India, at MIT, whatever we do, it has to be meaningful and it has to be with the industry. And our major objective of organizing this research conference was that industry and academics should come together. I was given to understand that through this association, we are creating meaningful internships and apprenticeships. So quite thankful to Mr. Saurabh Shukla, who's the founder and editor-in-chief, New Mobile USA, US India NAPAC. Give a huge applause to him. Thank you for supporting us. Dr. Steining, good friend of ours. He was there with the president of Colorado State University at our university. And good to see you here, especially coming. And what we saw was the amazing energy and especially your focus on research. Thank you so very much. Also, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Tashina, Director of International Partnerships and Strategic Initiative, American University, Washington, and Mr. Stephen Bozer, who is the Senior Vice President, Human Health. I was sitting with him, and the more I spoke, I was trying to understand what a great vision he has, what a great entrepreneur he is. We're not going to spare you. We will send some students, right, who will be taking your guidance. But thank you so very much for just in 10 minutes, I think that he gave 10 ideas that how we can strengthen relationship with the industry. Very dynamic and vibrant. Give a huge applause to him. I can also see that we have been joined by our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Aseem Chauhan. As I was saying, give a huge applause to him. He is the one who is under the guidance of our founder, Dr. Chauhan, has been able to take the flag of MIT institutions and university is in the entire North America. Today, MIT is recognized one of the largest player of Asia, having 175 acres campus in Long Island, having good presence in San Francisco, having more than 63 research partnerships in USA, and more than 13 good partnerships in Canada. And we can see that our alumni, which will be talking to all of you in the second session, I was just counting on more than 700 alumni in US and in Canada at such prestigious organizations like Microsoft, Apple, Oracle, and in some of the leading financial sectors and in government sector is a testimony what Dr. Aseem Chauhan has been able to do.
Dr. Gurinder Singh, I have been listening throughout and enjoying the introductions of your very esteemed panel and very distinguished guests you have. So I've been enjoying listening throughout. Thank you, Dr. Singh.
Once again, very warm welcome on behalf of entire MIT family. We are so lucky, so privileged that all of you are here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, respected Group Vice Chancellor, sir. And Chancellor, sir, good morning, good evening, sir. Welcome all dignitaries of the panel. With this, we come to a very important keynote. Professor Raghu Sundaram had some commitments, but thank you, sir. You made it to the conference. We would, amidst your applauses, we would call upon Professor Raghu Sundaram, the Dean of NYU Stern School of Business, and he's also the Senior Vice Chancellor Designate for Global Strategy for NYU. We welcome you for your keynote, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Can all of you hear me? Sound good? Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for the introduction. Thank you especially for the opportunity to speak at this conference. My apologies for not being there with you in person, but this is graduation week at NYU and it's turned, so it's an exceptionally busy period. I was also delighted to see Dr. Aseem Chauhan, so special welcome to you, sir, and thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Samba, we didn't get the opportunity to meet a month ago, so I'm glad we at least get to meet on screen, and hopefully we'll meet in some person sometime soon. So the theme of this year's summit is exploring collaborative opportunities, US-India ties in higher education management. I'm going to talk about this a little more broadly than just around the theme of business education and management. It's about ties in higher education overall. This theme, the theme of collaborative higher education, has in a way never been more relevant and more urgent. As the last speaker mentioned, we live in a world today that is seemingly coming more apart at the seams every day, a world that seems to be more divided by politics, war, and conflict, a world in which communication has been replaced by the use of megaphones. Higher education has a very, very important role to play in addressing these issues. And I must say, who better to model this theme and to bring thinkers around it than a university like Amity, which from its founding has had a global vision built around a global community. There is a special appositeness in this topic for two reasons. The first, I should point out that higher education is unlike any other sector of the economy in some very critical ways. And second, focusing on just US-India, higher education is the bedrock on which the US-India partnership has been built, and it will remain the bedrock of a partnership, I think, that will be foundational to the evolution of the 21st century. Let me talk about both of these points. First of all, what is it that is different about higher education? On the one hand, higher education is as fiercely competitive a sector as any other that we have. Institutions compete hard for the best faculty and the best students, and they compete globally for this. Yet, unlike any other industry, those of us in higher education, we actively encourage, we urge our faculty to collaborate with faculty in our competitor institutions to produce world-class and transformative research. When the time comes for faculty promotions, we write to top researchers in our competitor institutions for their estimate of the concerned researcher's impact. Similarly, with our students, we encourage, we urge our students to visit our competitor institutions abroad to experience them. We should pause for just a second and think about how remarkable this is. Pharmaceutical companies do not collaborate on the creation of even life-saving drugs except in exceptional circumstances. Investment banks do not reach out to their competitors and ask them their opinions of their employees before promoting them. Yet such collaboration is at the heart of everything that higher education institutions do. It is in our very soul to collaborate. We compete fiercely, but we also collaborate. The second thing, it is the ability of higher education institutions to bring together people from varied backgrounds, varied languages, regions of the country and the globe in respectful dialogue and the search for knowledge that really distinguishes higher education. In this context, higher education is, as I mentioned, the cornerstone individually of both the US and of India, the source of their prosperity. It is important individually to each country. The US has an education system that anybody would agree is the world's premier education system. And even when India was a very poor country emerging from colonialism, the country was busy investing in world-class educational institutions that have laid the foundation stone for the growth to come. But more than individually, higher education is the sphere of activity that has brought India and the US closer together via direct civil society contact, people-to-people contact, and it is the sector that will continue to define the foundation of the relationship. All of you know the statistics. Half of all Indian students studying abroad are in North America. Students from India have overtaken China to be the largest source of foreign students in the US. Some of them will return home, taking with them the valuable networks, the connections they've developed during their time of study. These will be with them for a lifetime. But many others stay on to become valuable contributors to the economies and societies of North America. It's an observation that has often drawn remark just how many current and past CEOs of iconic American corporations, Google, Microsoft, Adobe, McKinsey, Pepsi, Starbucks, FedEx, US Air, United, so many others happen to be Indian in origin. As are so many in other spheres of activity, from academia to medicine, and recently even politics. The FT had an article a while ago on how many business school deans in America happen to be Indian in origin. Less commonly noted is that virtually all of these CEOs, all of these leaders first arrived in the US as university students. It was higher education first in India, then in the US, that was central to this outcome. This link, the flow of students, will only grow in the years to come and will continue to be critical in fostering deep people-to-people links across civil society. That will continue, it will strengthen. But the more interesting question is, what forms will connections between institutions of higher education take? Higher education 1.0, if I may use that expression, has been defined entirely by the flow of students, even if it's largely been in one direction. What form will higher education 2.0 take in developing relations between the US and India? Here, we are beginning to observe two interesting trends. Perhaps it's too early to say how they will play out. But here are two discernible trends. First, higher education institutions everywhere in the world have largely tended to be stay-at-home institutions, unlike corporations which expand abroad very, very easily. That is beginning to change. Amity, from its beginning, has had an international focus, has established campuses abroad. I have the fortune to be working at a university that is perhaps the US's most global university, with footprints in 14 locations outside New York and across the globe. We send thousands of our students annually to study at one of these locations or at other institutions. That exchange of institutions, that development of global campuses for which NYU and Amity have been pioneers, I think that will form a model for many other institutions in the years to come. Even within India, the IITs, for example, IIT Madras in Tanzania, IIT Delhi in the UAE, BITS Pilani, many other institutions are now establishing global campuses. But I think the fundamental nature of the relationship is going to come in another aspect that Dr. Gurinder spoke about, which is the intensifying of research collaborations. This is still in its infancy, but I think will become the defining aspect of the relationship over the next 2 decades. Universities are as much about the creation of knowledge as the dissemination of knowledge. And it is a matter of some regret to someone like me who comes from India that while India has excelled in producing outstanding students and leaders, and even outstanding researchers, the latter are mostly to be found outside India. Indian institutions have lagged their peers very substantially in the quality and quantity of research output and in thought leadership. It's true in the physical and natural sciences, but it's true in business and economics. Some of the biggest names in the sciences, in business thought, in management leadership have come from India, but they've mostly thrived in Western institutions, largely in America. This, I think, is going to change in the years to come. Increasingly, US institutions, which are handicapped by the cost of producing researchers, by the cost of training PhD students, are reaching out to Indian institutions for collaborations on developing joint PhD programs. And Indian institutions, which have access to an incredible array of very, very talented students, are collaborating with Western institutions in trying to do joint PhD programs, postdoctoral exchanges, and joint research programs. There are many such initiatives going on. I spent a couple of hours at the NSF with the director 2 months ago talking about these research projects that are developing between India and the US. And it seems like we are at the very early stages of something that is going to be very, very exciting. This attempt to broaden collaboration from that between individual researchers that has existed for some time to teams of researchers and institution level partnerships is an exciting one. I think it is the one that will be truly transformational. It is one for which all of us are trying to establish the right model, because research collaborations are not going to be one-to-one, they're going to be one-to-many and many-to-many in terms of creating research teams across the two countries to work on problems that are urgent in today's world. I think this is where the future is going to lie, and this is something I'm very, very excited about. On NYU's behalf, I've been heading several conversations with eminent Indian institutions on this topic, and I think the reaction on both sides has been absolutely wonderful to see. So thank you again for inviting me, and I look forward to many more years of interaction with Amity and with institutions in India over the years to come. Thank you, Dr. Gurinder.
Sundaram, absolutely enlightening and an amazing summary of the Indo-US relationship as it pertains to universities. Always great to hear from you, Professor Sundaram. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chancellor, sir. Thank you, Professor Sundaram. Sir, I would request Rupai Chancellor, sir, and Chancellor, sir, to please felicitate Professor Raghu Sundaram. He has some very urgent commitments, and so he has to leave. With your permission, we'll start the felicitation, sir. Erudite keynote, which is invited very earlier. We thankfully extend our gratitude to you, sir, for being part of this conference. And we look forward to future interactions with NYU and Amity taking different leads in greater dimensions. Thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, going next, we have another erudite speaker, Professor Rhonda Green, the chair of the IEEE Long Island section. I would humbly call upon Professor Green to give her special remarks.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to join your conference today. I am so excited. Our Long Island section is really excited about the collaboration with Amity University. But first, I have to thank Dr. Sundaram. I got my master's degree from NYU, Tandon School of Engineering, years ago, but I did. That's our connection there. But as it pertains to Amity University, we are excited. I am here on Long Island, New York, and the chair of the Long Island IEEE section. I just wanted to let you know we have about 1,300 members of the IEEE Long Island section, and we have societies, affinity groups, and committees who all collaborate to do what the IEEE's mission is to advance humanity I'm sorry, I should know this. It is advancing technology for humanity. I've said it so many times. So that collaboration is going to afford us to have events that we're going to invite Amity University to not only attend, but to participate in as well. We have one coming up this week. It's the Microwave and RF Technology Symposium. That's always held in this time of year. And the next one will be, the big one will be our Power and Electronics Symposium, and that's not held until November. But in between, I will invite the Amity University to join all of our Long Island section meetings and social networking sessions so that we can truly collaborate and help each other. I definitely want the students who attend Amity University to feel that they are a part of IEEE, whether they are members or not in their student chapters. We definitely want to grow that as well. And I just look forward to this collaboration. And I thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. Thank you.
Professor Rhonda, have you visited Amity Long Island yet? Have you been to the campus?
Not yet, but it's definitely on my to-do list this summer.
Well, we invite you warmly. It's in Oakdale. on the southern coast, and we would love to have you over there sometime.
Definitely will. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Green. And we do understand that you have an urgent meeting as well. So we would request the team to please Professor Rhonda Green, Chair, IEEE Long Island section. Give her a huge round of applause. She's been helping Amity with many of her research initiatives, and she's been a great support all throughout. We look forward to future interactions. Thank you very much. With this, we move to our next speaker for the day. We have a special address by Associate Vice President, Global Partnerships and Education, Professor David Beck. Have we hand it over to you, sir?
Good morning, and thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning, and I wish I could be joining you in person. On behalf of our president, Dr. Gervin Fearon, and the rest of the leadership team at George Brown College, I'm here to share that in keeping with the conference theme, that we could not be more pleased to be moving into a collaboration and partnership with Amity University. As part of our college's global engagement plan, we have identified mutually beneficial partnerships as one of our top priorities. As far as this particular partnership goes, we are fully committed to ensuring that this collaboration develops in such a way for both of our institutions that when the time comes for partnership a few years down the road, that we're able to state exactly that mutual benefit has indeed been achieved. Amity University has really accomplished a tremendous amount in a very short period of time. The 11 university campuses throughout India, the 16 branch campuses internationally, really truly impressive. The growth in enrollments annually, again, truly impressive. The fact that you've established academic, research, and other forms of partnership with dozens of institutions globally, including many counted among the world's most influential, again, very impressive as well. I had the great pleasure of visiting the Noida campus on 2 different occasions now, and I was struck by a number of things. First of all, by the sophistication of the academic facilities, of the library, of the student supports available, and by the offerings that you put forward for the students who you truly put first, are really world-class. There's a clear pride of place and a dedication on display at Amity University by all of the faculty and staff that I had the pleasure to meet while I was there. And perhaps most notably, the undeniable energy and engagement displayed by your students is undeniable. Congratulations on that tremendous success to date. Can't say more than that. And it's for some of these reasons that George Brown are so keenly anticipating moving forward with the initiatives that we have identified as partnership objectives for our 2 institutions as your newest collaborator. The opportunity to see those engaged and energetic Amity University students join us in Toronto, Canada, adding their voices and perspectives to those of their peers in our classrooms will enrich our campus in so many ways. Again, that's our benefit. The opportunity for those dedicated staff and faculty to collaborate on projects and research activities with our team, I have no doubt is sure to result in outcomes that will benefit not only Amity University and George Brown, but India and Canada more broadly as well. We certainly look forward to opportunities that will also bring GBC students to your campus and hopefully be able to share some of those benefits in a cross-directional way. I would like to think that George Brown College offers up a fair deal of benefit as a partner for Amity University as well. Our 3 campuses are all located in downtown Toronto, Canada. If you're not familiar with Toronto, it's the 4th largest city in North America and considered by many to be the most multicultural city in the world. Over half of our population was born elsewhere, and more than 180 languages are spoken in this city. Our faculty are engaged in cutting-edge applied research with direct links to industry through a series of what we call innovation exchanges related to things like product development, interactive design, fashion, food, and many more. Our students are change makers in their communities, and our alumni go on to make contribution in the worlds of business, healthcare, hospitality, design, and many more. And so in short, I hope that you're as excited to work with us as we are to work with you. So again, on behalf of our president and the George Brown College leadership team, thank you to Professor Gurinder Singh, Group Vice Chancellor, for his collaboration, for his drive, and for the clarity of his vision around potential for collaboration between our two institutions. Thank you to the academic teams and the global teams at both institutions for all the hard work they put into drawing the framework around what this collaboration might look like. Thank you again for choosing to partner with George Brown College. I hope the rest of your conference is a great success. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Professor David Buggs. What a great day, what good omens. Everywhere you talk about institutions going global, and here we have great friends who are taking this mission forward. We are so proud to have all of us sitting on the same platform. With this, I also take the privilege of calling upon our next speaker and guest, Professor Vallabh Sabamurthy, who's the Albert O. Nicholas Dean of Wisconsin School of Business. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bharat, and good morning, everyone. A lot of friends and familiar faces. Hello, Rohit. How are you down there in South Carolina? And we've heard some wonderful speeches. This is certainly a great moment for us to talk about US-India ties, particularly in higher education, since we're all products of great educational institutions in India, and also certainly have benefited from the wealth of opportunities in the United States. In my brief moments, I'll slightly take a different direction. This morning, when I was having my breakfast and watching CNBC, my breakfast show, the visitor talked about India as a tech hub. And again, this is not a new theme, but something he said caught my attention, where he said that in the past, where we used to send simple tasks to India, he said now we send complex tasks to India, because India truly is the place where complex tasks, when we talk about generative AI and others, get solved, and the talent out there has leapfrogged the talent that's available in the US. That made me think about, traditionally, we've thought about India as a tech hub, but it's also true that over the last 20 years, India has been a net exporter of management talent. When we think about all these companies, whether it be Google or Adobe, name them, it is the products of Indian education institutions who have risen to be CEOs. But what is becoming even more noticeable today is that India is also a net exporter of academic leadership talent. We have far more deans of business schools, maybe not yet presidents who have led their institutions. Raghu is a shining example till he stepped down recently. There are many such examples, and Rohit is the latest one of the more recent entrants to this club. So what does that mean for our conversation? In a parallel vein, I strongly believe that higher education across the world is at an inflection point. Questions such as who do we serve? The definition of a learner has to be broader than just those who come to us for their degrees, because learning is a lifelong venture. And so lifelong learning means that the learners are quite different from our degree-seeking students. What do they learn? Our degrees have been our bread and butter, but just like the music industry no longer sells albums, but single songs, micro-credentials, badges, just-in-time learning, these are becoming the staple. And then how do they learn? The notion that they will come to us is giving way to, we will go to where they are. So with these things, there is a huge opportunity for educational innovation. And MET is a great example. Like many of you, I visited recently your Noida campus and have seen the investments you made. But the answers are that we need to focus upon, beyond our degrees, the need for specialized skills, whether it be business analytics, now generative AI, a blend of technology and management. we need to think about industry partnerships, and I've seen some of the R&D labs at Amity University, and we need to think about how do we develop academic talent, because the need of the hour in India is education is exploding, but do we have the academic talent to match? And in many of these ways, Amity's vision as a global institution is right on, but certainly many of us are interested in how do we partner with you, but how do we think about new models, technology as a platform, micro-credentials, badges, so on. So our traditional models need to be updated with innovative models of collaboration, and that's what gets me excited about forums like this. Thank you for inviting me to participate, and I feel very energized by whatever I heard so far. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, some very important pearls of wisdom from Dean Sambamurthy, and talks volumes about the recent trends and models that are in practice and prevalence. With this, we invite a very important guest and speaker for today, Professor Malik Sundaram, who is the Vice President of Enrollment Management and Student Affairs at Illinois Institute of Technology, one of our biggest strategic partners and very old friends of Amity. Amid your thundering applauses, Professor Malik Sundaram, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Marod. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me being here with all of you this morning. It was an early flight flying in from Chicago, but
Dr. Marod and Dr. Gurinder Singh, sorry, the audio is not coming so well for us. If someone could just fix the audio, apologies for the interruption. We don't want to miss the address of Mr. Sundaram, Dr. Sundaram. I think his line is muted. Now it's unmuted. Yes. Professor Sundaram, please say something.
can you hear me now?
There's a bit of an echo. I think maybe someone can work on the audio. Apologies, Professor Sundaram.
Oh, no worries.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Leave mic. You need to speak from here.
But Dr. Singh, can the students in the hall hear him then?
Yeah,
because more important that our students can hear him.
Yeah, they can. Say something.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll keep my voice up, and thank you for being with us here. I had the pleasure of working in global education industry for the past 20 years. I was a product of global education myself. I first came here as an exchange student. I won't tell the year, but I've had the pleasure of working in global education, starting from what I call as globalization when it started, where student exchange in 1950s from Fulbright from India all the way to exchange programs, dual degree programs, and much more. And I've had the pleasure of working at Northeastern University before Illinois Tech, where we have launched multiple global programs. We have the pleasure of opening close to 14 campuses throughout the world, both Canada, London, and many parts of the world. And really trying to follow many speakers before me, meeting the learners where they are, was something key to the globalization efforts that we have seen. Now,
just look at it. Everyone, there's so many vice chancellors.
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so maybe the need to restart. Mobin in India, can you please check audio?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. I can hear you.
Audible now?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I think with the microphone it is better, Dr. Singh. I think now it's better.
So as I was saying, in the first partnership exchange between India and US started in 1950 with Fulbright scholarship program, but it has come a long way from where it started to where it is today. We are currently exploring a partnership with Amity University through the new education policy, and I had the pleasure of working with the new education policy for the Indian government for the last 10 years. It took a long time before we established the new education policy, but it has opened up what I call as the future of what education needs from education mobility and educational exchange. The new education policy, as you know, allows foreign institution to establish campus in India and offer degree programs, which was not something that was possible for foreign educations to be able to delivering degree programs in India. Now, with more than 40 million learners that are going to be entering into the tertiary education space, this is something that's going to be uniquely different and advantageous, where students don't have to go to another country in search for higher education. So we are very excited to continue this partnership with Amity University and exploring this further. And this is just one new avenues of educational partnerships you will see come through. Beyond all of this, as the fellow panelists have shared, education is not currently structured to evolve beyond what we call as fresh grads as audience. Lifelong learners are where the growth of higher education is as positioned to be. As US higher education is going through a crossroads of where and who we teach. At Illinois Tech, we have launched what we call as a new strategy of meet the learners where they are. And two and a half years before, we launched a Mandarin MBA program. When I first started talking about the Mandarin MBA program, everybody was looking at me to say, how are you going to get through accreditation? Why would you offer a Mandarin MBA program? If you logistically look at it, you have a settled family in China who are in mid-level management and corporate. They're not going to leave their lives, their families, and then come to US or for any other country for higher education. Now, meeting the learners where they are doesn't just stop from physical challenges that you have, language challenges as well. So you need to really look at, is a person who have established his career or her career for 20 years going to go acquire a new language in English just to get a degree? So that's where we launched this Mandarin MBA program, really meeting the learners where they are. And we have 1,000 learners that are going through the program currently. The second example of expanding that is we are in process of launching a Spanish MBA program. As you know, nearshoring is the largest growth sector that we are seeing, particularly in Latin American markets, in Mexico, in Peru and other areas of Latin America. The FDI has largely increased in the last year compared to the 10 years that they can compare against. So what we are trying to really get at is the international education and the mobile learners as they continue to go around the world, acquire the education. There is also a need for us to deliver the education and meet the learners where they are. And this is just the next step to what I call as globalization. The globalization of education era is maturing towards globalization. And we are excited to be part of the journey. And I wish you all and invite you all to be part of it and benefit from the global education vision and benefits that you'll all learn as you go through your careers next. Thank you and wish you all well.
Please give it up for Professor Malik Sundaram. Some very insightful information and data and facts coming in, especially with the advent of new education policy and the promising future for US and Indian institutions. With this, it gets us more excited to have some great speakers now. It's my humble privilege to call upon Professor Dr. Rohit Verma, Dean, Darnamore School of Business, University of South Carolina. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, Marut. Can you hear me? Okay.
We can, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Professor Singh and Dr. Chauhan and all colleagues at MIT. It's great to be part of another forum for the university. And I join my previous panelist in congratulating you for all your outstanding achievements in just a few years. Very well done. Congratulations. Since many of the general thoughts have been shared by several esteemed colleagues earlier, let me take this opportunity maybe to share with you a case example. And I will use a case example of my own school here. Some of you may know I'm at the University of South Carolina. This is in Columbia, South Carolina. It's the southeastern part of US. But what you may not know is how this particular school evolved and actually has made international collaboration actually the hallmark of its program. So about 50 years ago, there were a group of faculty members here at South Carolina. They foresaw that global businesses are going to become big part of our industry and our academic world. Back then, South Carolina was known for cotton farming, maybe different other type of agricultural products, and maybe a few beaches in the east coast of the state, Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, and that's about it. If you look at the state of South Carolina now, it is hub to one of the fastest growing international industry presence in the country now. There are more than 200 companies here, I believe, just from Germany who are operating. And if you look at the new investment in advanced manufacturing in US, it's growing at a very rapid rate here in South Carolina, but also southeastern US, in Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina. New industries such as clean energy, electric vehicles production, all of that is coming here. So 50 years ago, faculty members here foresaw that there will be this change happening. And at that point, they started programs in international business at our school. You can see the building behind me, and probably you can see some of the flags which are there in the entrance of the building. We have about 80 flags there right now. These are flags of the faculty and students who are currently studying in this school right here. We have over 6,000 students, but we have over 92 university partners around the world. What do these partners do? Well, a variety of things. So first of all, both our undergraduate and master's program in international business have been ranked #1 in the country for, I don't know, 25 plus years or so. And the reason why it has happened is because the curriculum is very comprehensive. Students have to learn at least one foreign language. They have to, at the minimum, spend 6 months study abroad, in many cases up to 2 years study abroad. We have multiple cohort programs where students from 2 and sometimes actually even 3 universities, they spend time here in Columbia and then elsewhere at their home institutions. We have faculty members who study international business. And in fact, the group is so big that we have a whole department of international business, about 25 or so faculty members. And these are some of the most highly influential faculty members who have published and created new knowledge, which are being widely used all around the world. Routinely in the building, you will see many different languages spoken. And there are 15 research centers, all collaborating with universities around the world. So all of this happened today because there was a foresight about 50 years ago. And slowly, one by one, faculty along with students made an effort to get us here. And I do think that that's the kind of effort which needs to be taken. If we want to enhance more collaboration between universities in US and India, it will take a decade. And I believe a forum like the one we are having today, where we have conferences, Earlier mention about joint research projects was put forward. And then, of course, collaborative degree program, short-term exchanges, those are all very helpful. I think both parties, if I can say that, need to bring something to the table. So, for example, what can Indian universities bring forward? I think Indian universities can bring forward many things. Best students, really thriving economic opportunities which are there. They bring opportunities for faculty at US and other places to collaborate on research, the kind of data sets which are there, which are not present anywhere. For example, let's just think about just one thing. A few years ago, when the whole the old form of currency notes in India were changed to the new currency note, right? I mean, that had a huge impact on businesses all around the country. We can take an example like that, and that's a great research topic, if you will. We look at the vaccine production in India. It's one of the leading producer of vaccines in the world now. How did this whole industry grow rapidly? These are unique contexts for faculty members to do research. And I think if these examples are brought forward to places like where I am working right now, or my earlier institution at Cornell or Utah, wherever I had been before, we will see faculty members getting more excited about doing research projects. I think we also, in addition to that, we need to put some funding together. And fortunately, in the business school world, we don't need a lot of funding, but we do need enough funding for faculty and students to be able to travel, to be able to collect data. And then if they visit each other in universities, they get a chance to have an office and so on. So it's really not a lot of funding which is needed, but making a few of these efforts will make it possible for the connections to get better. Some other thoughts, I would like to suggest that maybe there could be a call for proposals, if you will. From your side in Amity, if you can think about a few burning issues from India's perspective, and if there could be a call for proposal for hackathons or international case competition or something like that, then it also encourages people to think about the region and a specific collaboration a little bit more seriously and not just having an open call. So here are 2-3 ideas. As Professor Singh knows, before coming to South Carolina, I was in Vietnam for 4 years. I had the honor of setting up a brand new first private not-for-profit university there. It's called Vinh University. And we did many of those things in Vietnam at the time to bring several foreign universities to come and partner. So that university is also only 4 years old. Its first batch is going to graduate actually next month, and I will have the honor of going back to see them. I think these are case study examples which we can learn from, and I hope those are helpful for our discussion about US and India. Thank you very much for giving the time.
Some beautiful thoughts on collaboration here and how the power of collaboration helps. You may not have the best cards that you're dealt with, but how you play the hand. And on this note, we also recall, Professor Verma, your interactions with Dr. Gurinder Singh sir when you were in close collaboration with Dean Soumitra Datta. And so many years have gone by, the color of hairs have changed, but the amity and the fondness remains the same. With this, we call
and Dr. Verma, if I can just add excellent thoughts. You have given some very pragmatic, implementable ideas. I have noted them as well, and we will follow up with you. But excellent remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chancellor, sir. With this,
and congratulations to whatever you have done in Vietnam. I feel so proud.
Thank you, everyone. With this, we invite Mr. Saurabh Shukla for his address. Saurabh, over to you.
Thank you, Marut, and thank you, Dr. Aseem Chauhan and Professor Gurinder. Thank you for this thought leadership forum and taking this important topic, which I feel is one of the most driving, the drivers of the India-US partnership today. You know, I'm joining you today from Washington, D.C., and I was there at the time when the big visit of Indian Prime Minister happened. I was there inside White House and had the privilege to be at one of the luncheon banquets. And I can tell you that higher education was one of the key themes that formed part of this visit by the Indian Prime Minister, and why US and India now will make sure that higher education becomes a key linchpin of this partnership. But I want to talk about the education diplomacy, which institutes like Amity, under the leadership of Dr. Chauhan, Professor Gurinder, have been pioneering. And I want to congratulate you for that, because you were one of the first universities in India to take on this task of going global. When, especially in the private sector, when few thought about it, you actually thought about it. So you are pioneers of education diplomacy. So congratulations for that. I want to just focus on a couple of practical aspects which we can take this we can take forward. And one of them is a lot of speakers have spoken about research collaboration. I want to take it further by saying that we need skill development and workplace collaboration. I run a media tech organization with News Mobile, which I founded in 2014, which is now based out of US, India, and Singapore. And when I interact with a lot of education leaders, students, one of the challenges that they come up with is that there is not enough practical training happening for them. That is where Amity can play a pivotal role by making sure that we are very happy to be a bridge as well, where you can actually provide your students practical training both in India and in the US, and also collaborating with industries. Today, there are bespoke partnerships which are there. We are working in AI domain. We are working on misinformation, which is impacting democracies. And I always feel that when young students come to me for mentoring, one of the challenges that they face is this. In fact, if you must have seen news reports that even the big universities now are finding it difficult to find internships for their students. That's the reason why these university partnership with bespoke companies which are providing specialized skill sets, whether it's AI, whether it's in media, or technology, they are the future of this, because the students have to be not only trained in a classroom, but they have to go beyond that as well. That's one. The other thing is student mobility. And I've been speaking, whenever I speak to leaders here in Washington, DC or in Delhi, I always stress on the fact that why should a student, after securing admission to a university, undergo the stress of really taking a long time in securing a visa? That is where I think the governments from both sides need to work very closely. In fact, because student visa is something which, if you're not creating easy access, even though US has given record number of visas to India, for the last session, and we have almost over 260,000 Indian students here in the US. But even then, a lot more can be done. The other thing is, I think, on the policy exchanges, the private sector, universities like MIT, they need to have a greater voice as well. This is where I feel that not only the universities, which are the government universities or the state-run universities, but the private universities, they can be the unifier, the bridge between US and India for education collaboration. The other thing, obviously, is how do we make sure that we create the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship? And that's the reason why the funding, one of the speakers mentioned earlier, funding is very important. So how can we jointly create funding opportunities? And being here in the US, and I can tell you, there are enough foundations which are working towards creating funding for higher education. We need to channelize these into specific projects. I will be very happy to work with Amity to explore some joint collaboration opportunities here on how we can create funding for specific projects. Projects like misinformation, disinformation, which I focus heavily on. We have been working for the last 8 years before the world realizes the danger of this. I will be very happy to work with Amity, and we can look for a partner here in the US to see how we can train our students and they can be future ready, because at the end of the day, they will be the citizens who will take on the mantle of this partnership between our two great democracies, and they need to be brought in on some of these ideas. I think the higher education diplomacy has a great future. And I think, MIT's role in shaping it is pivotal. And I will be very happy in whatever way we can find way the future forward to play a role in this. Thank you so much for the opportunity and inviting me. And I'm sure this is one of many in lines of the amazing thought leadership forums that MIT has been hosting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Saurabh Chugha, for very prolific thoughts on new age tracks in modern day classrooms. We will really value and cherish all the information given by you and try to implement.
Yeah, Mr. Shukla, great ideas. In fact, we at one of our universities have a center for fake news and disinformation, and it's one of the most cited. We have trained the police and many and media as well in this particular very important area. That center would love to collaborate with you. And
Absolutely.
by chance, I was also at the White House last June when Prime Minister Modi was there, and I was there at the White House, and the next day at the Kennedy Center as well. I'm not sure if you come to the Kennedy Center, but it was, of course, a great experience to see in real time the development of the India-US relationship and how warm and positive the vibes were around that visit. So you're absolutely right that education and other platforms were talked about as potential bridges between the countries and the people. So fully agree with you.
Thank you, Dr. Chauhan. And I really want to add just a small note here. We've already, we've had the privilege of, training some of your students recently. My team has done it, and we really look forward to expanding this partnership. And again, congratulations to your amazing team for taking this forward and making sure that, India's higher education imprint is there in the global arena, and you are contributing a great deal. Congratulations.
We look forward to it. Your backdrop looks very nice. You look like a very accomplished anchor of a great news channel.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you, Saurabh, for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to call the Rams, as they say. Dr. Steen Verhulst from Colorado State University, a very dear friend of Amity and a great supporter of all our initiatives. Over to you, dear friend.
Thank you. Thank you. The Westerner in me says we're 20 minutes behind. So I will be brief and share certainly some of the excitement and some of the work we've done at Colorado State University to help further this goal around US and India higher education. So Dr. Chauhan, Dr. Singh, Marut, thank you very much for the invitation. I said, well, what are we doing here? And Marut said, well, there'll be students. And I said, okay, I'm on a plane. And so I think everything that we do and the advancements we make should be focused on you, the students. If it's not meeting the students where they're at, and so Colorado State University has been really aggressive in becoming very creative in the Indian higher education ecosystem. I think through the new education policy and opportunities for us to engage in India in different ways, we have really grabbed onto that, and we're delivering our degrees now in India, both you coming to our side, us coming to you, hybrid delivery, students starting online, helping minimize costs, coming to residential instruction and availing themselves of scholarships. And so we do all of that. The creativity of our faculty, our research, and our administration creates pathways for us to be able to deliver you an outcome that you want. We've heard a lot about micro-credentials, badging, degrees, certificates. Those are all things that we're responding to in terms of the market and again, what the students are interested in. And so my history with Amity stems from a research collaboration. And so about 15 years ago, our vice president for research visited Amity campus. And when I go to India, and I go quite frequently, I've gone 3 times in the last 12 months, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I won't go to Delhi, right? It's hot, a lot of people, it's polluted. And boy, that changed when I was able to visit the campus in Noida, see the energy that the students brought. I actually had the opportunity in August to visit while you were landing on the moon. And so excitement was just fever pitch. And now I was able to return in February, bring our president as her very first stop in India to visit your campus. And we have really tried to accelerate our partnership and opportunities to engage with Amity and ultimately to support you. I was excited when I was grabbing coffee, chatting with a few students. They're there in the back, some alumni here in the front, talking about the diverse perspectives and majors and programs you're interested in. And boy, it's exciting to hear about interest in STEM, biotech, as well as other areas. And so I think that's our obligation as a US partner, keyword partner, looking at synergies in our curriculum, in our research interests, to find a way to add value to your hopes and dreams. And if we fall short of that goal, it means nothing for all of us. And so I appreciate you and the patience you've had. I cannot imagine American students sitting this long. And so your resilience in this process is nothing short of amazing. And I really look forward to Q&A and a chance to really dive into some of the things that pique your curiosity and how we can do our best to add value to you and your hopes and dreams. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steen. Indeed, very enlightening. And you know, he's a student's man. You saw it for yourselves. He's so concerned about you. Thank you so much for these thoughts. With this, we come to our next speaker, Dr. Tashina Girard. She is in Washington, D.C. again, a very old ally of Amity, and she is representing American University. Over to you, Tashina. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Chauhan, Dr. Singh, for inviting me to contribute to this conversation. Like my colleague just said, I think we're a bit running late, but it is really lovely to be here with you, and seems to be like a family of Amity partners. This, for me, is a continuing conversation that we began in October, when I too had the opportunity to visit the Noida campus. We were very impressed by the faculty, the programs, the infrastructure of this main campus. And during that visit, we had the opportunity to meet with the different academic units. And we actually started this journey towards partnership. And so you just heard from an old Amity partner, and now you're hearing from somebody who is a new and aspiring Amity partner. We heard this morning about Amity's international strategy that really demonstrates the scope and the impact of its ambitions. I would like to acknowledge your incredible achievements and the demonstration of Amity's visionary leadership. It is very impressive. We're at the beginning of our partnership journey, which in itself is very exciting because we can currently explore all the new possibilities of collaboration. And I hope that this partnership will pave the way to a strong collaboration and a long-lasting relationship between our two institutions. For those who've not heard of American University, although there are many American universities around the world, we were established in 1896 as a vision of George Washington's idea of embodying a national university situated in the heart of our capital. And from our inception, it's been more about just being a learning space. It's also been an envision to be a crucible for the nurturing public servants and leaders. This vision continues to be true and at the core of our identity and mission today. And we're very proud of the community of learning and research that we've been able to develop in the United States and abroad. And we'd like to hope that we're preparing the next generation of leaders to tackle the complex challenges that we have in our time. I loved our intervention by our colleague at NYU, as he mentioned, they're considered the #1 international university in the United States. I believe in the same ranking, we were ranked #2. And so we're really happy to be here as well. We have about 200 international partnerships and students and scholars from 115 different countries. And this year alone, this spring alone, we sent out over 650 students on study abroad programs, and we sent over 60% of our undergraduate students on study abroad programs this year in 100 different countries, 100 different programs, 33 countries, 6 continents. Why I'm saying this is that we didn't send anybody to India. And we have not since COVID. And that's something that we are hoping to change while we establish our new partnerships currently today with Amity. We need to promote to the United States student population the importance of learning, living, studying in India and about India. And we need to develop our stronger relationships and more institutional ties. Again, as you said, this is the beginning of our journey with Amity. But over the past few years, as my colleagues have mentioned, there have been significant steps and milestones that will improve and increase our ability to work and engage together. The new education policy, the shifting demographics, both in the United States and in India, the shifting world politics, there was mentioned that we just had, the visit between the United States and Indian governments working on strengthening their ties. And this really does extend to higher education. And you can see this, we talk about funding and financing through things like the Quad Fellowship, the scholarships given to students who are going to come into specific STEM fields in the United States. India is one of the largest recipients of the Fulbright grants. They also have the launching of the Education and Skills Development Working Group to further our collaboration. So going beyond also research. But we can also see it in the opening of all the new consulates all across India to increase the deliverance of visas. And I was listening to my colleagues talking about that huge hurdle, which is getting a visa to the United States. But our engagement in India, we really hope that by bringing together scholars and researchers and students from the different backgrounds and perspectives, we're not only going to enhance our understanding of the world, but also we'll be able to foster a culture of inclusivity, diversity, and mutual respect. And so we do already have research and faculty mobility going on. We did have an exchange program, a student mobility program before COVID. Again, we hope to reignite and resend students to India. But also we're really looking forward to developing program and more strategic collaborations. Yes, around the STEM, we've heard a lot about the needs for those technical abilities, but also around social sciences. And I did hear the call for the misinformation and disinformation. And as you know, the American University has an excellent School of Communication and Journalism and Public Communication programs. And I do believe we have a number of our faculty researching on this topic. And so I would love to talk about this at another time. But in any American institution who's going to engage in India, because that is the topic of today, the first step is really understanding the context and the country that we're exploring. And India is as diverse as the United States, full of diverse people, cultures, languages, and we really need to take the time to understand each other, make sure we found the right partners. And I really do hope that we found each other here with Amity, and make sure that we want to be able to work together and build partnerships that are equitable, sustainable, and mutually beneficial for everybody. And so just closing up on this, because I know that we're running out of time, I do hope that this is just the beginning of a long journey, and I will join the Colorado State Club of Intimate Family almost of Amity. And we really do look forward to working together on every level, be it the student, the program, and the faculty level, and build this relationship together. Thank you.
Great, Dr. Tashina, we look forward to working with you. American University is a great university with a wonderful presence and campus in Washington, D.C. We look forward to working with you closely. I'll meet you when you are next in India as well.
It will be great. And I know that often Amity seems to be in Washington, D.C., and as soon as maybe in a couple of days. And so I look forward to receiving Dr. Singh and Marut this week, and you as well. And if you come back to the White House, we also have a White House for our president on our campus, and we'd love to receive you as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tashina. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Dr. Tashina Zirot. Give her a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we come to the last speaker for today's session. But as we always say, we keep the best for the last, and we are starting our alumni session. But before that, we have an alumni of FDU, also happens to be the Senior Vice President of Human Health, Stephen Bozer. Over to you. And then we have remarks by our Honorable Chancellor, and then we conclude the session.
Well, thank you all so much. As a proud alumni of FDU, it's a thrill for me to be here with you all today. And I'm really going to try and control my enthusiasm for everything I'm hearing about India and Amity University and these partnerships. So I'm in the pharmaceutical industry, and that means I'm lucky enough. I travel to India all the time. I've been doing it for the past 15 years. And let me just let all the students that are listening on this know a couple of things. There is no better time in history to be studying international business. There is no better time to be studying engineering. There's no better time to be studying biology, chemistry, physics. And there's probably no better time to be associated with Amity and all these partnership institutions. India has a brand, at least in my business, the pharmaceutical industry, we say India has a brand, and that brand is you guys are problem solvers at a level that exceeds probably anywhere else on the planet. Let me give you an example. During COVID, the Herculean efforts that Indian pharmaceutical companies went through to problem solve supply chain logistics to get drug product all over the world, vaccines, was unparalleled. And I got to see it live. And this speaks to the collaborations that we're seeing. It is essential that people, in my business, we call it GPOP. That stands for Get People on Planes. We need to get students to fly. Americans need to eat biryani in Hyderabad. I've tried it, it's amazing. We all need to see the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. We all need to see Wall Street, Shanghai, Seoul, London, Frankfurt. And what I'm hearing is that the mission of Amity is already spread out so diverse all over the globe that how exciting to be a young student today. I mean, I look at all what I'm looking at here and what I see online, and you guys should be so excited. There is so much private equity money being poured into India right now, and there's a very specific reason why. It's because India is full of hardworking, smart people, and money follows hardworking, smart people. And at least in the pharmaceutical industry, it's billions and billions and billions of dollars. We heard Professor Sambramurthy say that India is now being given the complex tasks. I was just in Bangalore. I was at a company called Syngene. I'm in a room where they have monoclonal antibodies in tanks. And I said to the person giving me the tour, I said, is there like $1 billion worth of drug product in that room? And without blinking an eye, he said, no, there's several $1 billion of drug product in that room of a monoclonal antibody. This is the cutting edge of science. I'll leave you guys with this. Again, there's no better time to be studying and to be involved in what I'm hearing and seeing in these partnerships. I'm a proud alum of FDU. This university changed my life. The MBA here changed my life. I know I'm looking at the future Tata families, the future Ambanis. I'm looking at the future tycoons of the world. You should all be really excited. And I know that the pharmaceutical industry in India, as an industry segment, can partner with Amity. There's just so much happening in India, and it's the future. The amount of drug product being supplied to the world out of India is already probably #1 in the world, and it's only going to continue. So what a thrill to be here, and congratulations to all of you students, and what a wonderful group of partnership institutions to be involved in this effort to educate the leaders of the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen, for this commitment that you had honored to be part of our conference. We are proud that we had an interaction with you earlier on also. With this, I would humbly call upon our Chancellor, Amity University, Rajasthan, Dr. Aseem Chauhan, sir, to share his thoughts and bless all of us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Marut, and thank you for comparing this. Mr. Bozer, I enjoyed your address. You have an infectious enthusiasm, and I echo all your sentiments and your comments. So absolutely wonderful. I've been admiring for the last hour plus the beautiful hall at Farley Dickinson University, just mesmerizing. And I think there's a lot of history in the hall that at least I can see from here. And what better setting to have a seminar, a meeting to talk about the future, to talk about how together in collaboration we can build a future that is better for generations to come. I'm so proud of all my students. If you can hear me, students of 3-continent program, please raise your hand, wave. Yes. Okay, I'll request later on if the camera can be picked up so I can see more of the dynamic faces of my students and maybe some alumni in the room. It is always so wonderful to see you. And this program that you're doing, the 3-continent program, is in my view, one of the most interesting, dynamic programs you can do. We have a deep belief that one can learn more outside the classroom by traveling, by meeting, by experiencing different cultures than you can ever do from a textbook. So seeing so many of you doing part of your program in India, and then part of it in the UK, and then now in the US is something extraordinary. And the motto of Farley Dickinson University is personal, global, transformational. And there can be no better summary of this program itself, which is, of course, by nature, global. It is for you transformational. And when you travel and when you are seeing the world, it becomes very personal. So in that way, Dr. Gurinder Singh, I compliment our partners at Farley Dickinson for recognizing the great importance of the 3-continent program and joining hands with you to deliver it in such a professional way and meaningful way in this beautiful setting. We have heard from some extraordinary people today. And I'm so happy that the group that has come online are not people that we're meeting for the first time, but as has been mentioned by Dr. Tashina and Mr. Saurabh and others, it is truly a part of a family of those who are together dreaming to see that how can we best collaborate and hold hands to provide opportunities to young people to better themselves and to help solve the bigger problems of the world. I would say that the addresses by each one of the people has been just extraordinary. Dr. Vallabh Sambamurthy has really given some very interesting ideas from Wisconsin. Professor Raghu Sundaram is, of course, a very dear friend at NYU, and he gave a very thoughtful and thought-provoking address about what is it that defines the relationship between India and the US, and what are the points of success that we have seen. But Mr. David Begg and Rohit Verma, Dr. Tashina herself, Malik Sundaram, who I'm so glad could make the trip to be with you in the hall today, together with Dr. Verhulst, who has come in from Colorado State University. I often give the example of CSU as a wonderful best practice of how to bring industry and academia together. And when you go to Colorado State University, you see that they have many dozen industries and companies that are on the campus delivering their business from within the campus site, which is exceptional, as well as our alumni of FDU, Mr. Bozer, from the pharmaceuticals industry. And you're right that there is a lot of collaboration at the moment between India and the US in the area of pharmaceuticals. So to all of the guests who have come online today, we are so grateful. We know that everyone is busy, but for you to give your time, why have you done it? You have done it because you believe in the potential of Amity students, and you believe in the potential of this partnership, that together we are better, that when we hold hands in academia, we do better research, we deliver better programs. So I compliment each one of you for the wisdom and the vision of having a global world in your mind as you approach these partnerships. And Dr. Tashina, I take your point that we have to be very thoughtful in what is the best mutual outcome, and how do we design these programs, and how do we design the relationship for the betterment of both partners and universities, and ultimately for the students and faculty who are the backbone of these programs. Professor Rhonda Green, I'm so happy that you gave your time. You are our nearest neighbor on Long Island. And with IEEE, we have a very long-standing relationship that you are well aware of. We have done very amazing conferences with IEEE all over the world. And your colleagues from the UK particularly have visited us in India very often. I dare say we have published many thousand research publications in partnership and published in IEEE journals that has propelled forward a better understanding, particularly in engineering and technology around the world. So we are grateful to the IEEE organization, and I look forward to your visit very soon. But Professor Rhonda, thank you for being here. Dr. Gurinder Singh is an amazing person. He is someone who I would say is as much a brother of mine as anyone in my family. He has been with the Amity Group now for almost 3 decades. And I remember that when I was a student in Philadelphia, very near Farley Dickinson in the neighboring state of Pennsylvania. I did my engineering and Wharton degrees in the Jerome Fisher dual degree program. Dr. Gurinder Singh would visit. And when I was in my first job in New York, I worked in New York for a number of years after my dual degree program in Philadelphia at UPenn. And Dr. Gurinder Singh was a young person himself, maybe in his late 20s, maybe 27 or so. And he was visiting New York, and he came to visit me, and it felt like family was visiting. And even then we sat together and we dreamt, and we said that we should have a presence in the United States. And our founder, the great visionary, Dr. Ashoke Chauhanji, who sees many decades ahead, who himself had been in Germany for 3 decades, came to India with a vision and dream to give the highest quality education in India And we did so by learning from the best universities from around the world, particularly in the United States. And a lot of Amity is designed and built around the model of some of the Ivy League universities and the good research universities of the US. So even back then, when Dr. Gurinder Singh visited, we got the advice and counsel of our founder president, who said, start dreaming of a campus and a research hub in the US. And those were early days. And Dr. Gurinder Singh and I sat together and we said, can we even fathom that this can happen? And when I see our partners and those with whom we are joining hands today, and when I see the 175-acre campus that we now have on Long Island and the Amity Global Research Hub that we are building out there to collaborate more closely, both in proximity and geography, but also in mindset with our partners in the US, then I see that vision of our founder coming true. And it can only happen when we join hands together with all of you in partnership. I want to acknowledge that online we have our colleagues from Amity from all around the world, from universities across India and from abroad. So to all Amitians who are online, I appreciate your dedication, your absolute commitment to a philosophy and vision, which is our students always first, high-end research to change society and solve problems, to give our students global exposure and experiences, and to build a network of institutions which allow student mobility, faculty engagement, and research collaboration. So to all the Amitians who are online today, I think you will be inspired to hear from our colleagues from top institutions and universities and businesses in the US. I'm sure that you are feeling very happy to see this today. So Dr. Gurinder Singh, to you and the team, my compliments. I am, as always, very proud of each one of you and the kind of groups and people that you bring together. This is once again a very successful gathering of great minds and thought leaders. And to all my alumni who are online and who will be speaking very soon, we are incredibly proud of each one of you. Any institution, any university is only as good and can only dream as high as the achievements of its alumni. And when I see how well you have done in North America, in the US and Canada and other countries, nothing could make me more proud of each one of you. And this gives me great belief for the future of not only Amity, but also India and the whole world. So thank you to each one of you. Dr. Gurinder Singh, let's continue with the program, but thank you for the invitation, and I'm delighted to be with you here today.
Thank you very much, Chancellor. It's always a privilege listening to you, one of the great iconic leaders of Amity Group, and also a mesmerizing orator. It's always overwhelming to hear his thoughts, and thank you for showering your blessings on all of us, sir. With this, we come to the closure. We have a lot of questions, and Dr. Gurinder Singh, sir, has been receiving questions from all Amity campuses across the length and breadth of the terra firma. But due to paucity of time, we will be emailing these questions to our worthy speakers and to have solutions for all Amity students to pursue them and gratify all the critical information that we have in those. With this, I would request dignitaries on the dais to step forward for the felicitations. We'll be honoring our guests virtually and physically both. Thereafter, we request you for joining us for a group photograph. We have also been joined by alumni, so heartily welcome to all of you, and we look forward to the next session shortly. Teams of the award citations and to take over, please. We would request you to please step forward. I think the media team can please come into action. Amity is proud to confer a certificate of appreciation and token of appreciation to Professor Vallabh Sambamurthy, Dean of Wisconsin School of Business. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applauses coming. Next, we have the honor of conferring an Amity Global Lifetime Achievement Award to Dr. Sachin Ahluwalia. I think he's yet to join us, but please keep the applauses coming for him. Great contribution. Next up, we also honor Professor David Begg for his contribution to today's event. Amity is also proud to confer upon Professor Malik Sundaram token of appreciation. Sir, we welcome you and we thank you for coming in person. Next up, we would also request the Group Vice Chancellor and Chancellor Sir to please honor Professor Rohit Verma, Dean, Darlamore School of Business, University of South Carolina. Committee is also proud to confer upon Mr. Saurabh Shukla a token of appreciation for his enlightening address this afternoon. Mr. Saurabh Shukla, ladies and gentlemen, keep the applauses coming. We are also joined by Dr. Steve Verhulst, RAB. We would request team to honor Dr. Steve Verhulst for his participation in the conference and for his insightful address. Dr. Steve Verhulst, keep the applauses coming. Next up, I would request the dignitaries to please felicitate Mr. for his enlightening presence and keynote. Mr. Stephen Bose. Committee is also proud to confer a token of appreciation to Dr. Tashina Girod from American University, Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applauses coming for Dr. Tashina. I will hand over to Group Vice Chancellor. Yes. Please keep a big applause coming for Dr. James Almeida, Dean Silverman College of Business, and for his whole team, Ms. Mary Sakin, Mr. Vijay Samrat, Ms. Marcia, and whoever has made possible. This grand function could not be possible without their great support. We have seen people not sleeping overnight, responding to our emails and messages in the flash of an eye. Thank you very much, Team FDU, for putting up such a great show with Amity. We are so proud to have you with us as our strategic partner. I would also request our audience to please give a standing ovation to every senior key functionary of Amity and all other parts of the university who have joined us and made this an event to watch. Keep the applauses coming. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We now.
Thank you, Marut. If you permit me to acknowledge the presence of Professor Mary. If you can come on the stage, you have been looking after our students so well. And Dr. Marsha.
With this, we come to the end of the first session. We'll shortly be joined by our alumni. But before that, we will have a group picture. Professor Rhonda Green has requested for an online picture as well. So Professor Rhonda, we live up to our commitments. You can stay there and we'll take a screenshot and send to you. Nonetheless, we will also be sharing the Zoom recording of this link with every speaker and every student. So here's some food for thought, but we can have a group picture. All of you can step forward, please, and join towards the screen so that we can have a group picture with all our guests who have joined from India and other parts of the world. Step forward. Jaldi aao, jaldi aao. Iske baad dusre mein come quick. Dignitaries may please come back. Watch your step, everybody. Step on the chair if you want to get a better picture. Yeah, you can step up. Make sure you don't fall off. Ready?
Thank you all.
Mobinji, maybe please. Yes. We will be back. We will be back in half an hour for another prestigious session by our alumni in North America. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Chancellor, sir. Thank you, all dignitaries. We look forward to future interactions and further discussions. Masha, please on the stage. IT, you may please close the session.